Let's be honest. The ending of Martin Scorsese's Shutter Island is one of those that just messes with your head, right? It's confusing. It's baffling. And for years, people have been arguing about what really happened in those final moments. Well, today, we're going to settle that debate once and for all. We're going to unravel this thing.
The entire movie basically balances on the edge of a knife, and it all comes down to this one simple question. Are we watching a tough-as-nails U.S. Marshal trying to crack a case, or are we actually trapped inside the mind of a patient who's lost touch with reality? Because believe me, the answer to that changes absolutely everything.
So how do we figure it out? Well, the thing that unlocks this whole mystery is hidden in two names, Teddy Daniels and Andrew Laeddis. One is the hero we think we're rooting for. The other is a man who's drowning in a truth he just can't face.
Okay, let's just rip the Band-Aid off right now. Teddy Daniels isn't real. He's a complete fabrication, a ghost. The man we've been following this whole time is actually Andrew Laeddis, patient number 67 at Ashcliffe Hospital. And that whole mission he's on, it's a deeply complex delusion he built to protect himself from a horrible, horrible reality. Think about it. Every clue he finds, every conspiracy theory, every shady-looking doctor or tight-lipped guard, it's all part of this elaborate story Andrew has written for himself. He's made himself the hero of a dark detective novel because the true story of his own life, it's just too monstrous for him to live with.
So that brings up a pretty big question, right? If this is all just a fantasy in Andrew's head, why is everyone on the island playing along? The doctors, the orderlies, everyone. Well, that's because this isn't just a delusion. It's actually a radical, last-ditch effort at therapy, an experiment.
So what is this unbearable truth he's running from? You might want to brace yourself because it's heavy. His wife Dolores was deeply unwell, and she did the unthinkable. She drowned their 3 children. And Andrew, in a state of just unimaginable shock and grief, killed her. He couldn't live with being the man who failed to protect his family and then became a killer himself. So his mind shattered and created a hero to take his place, a U.S. Marshal who hunts monsters instead of being one.
This is where Dr. Cawley comes in. He makes this huge, desperate gamble. To save Andrew from a lobotomy, a procedure that would basically erase who he is, he stages the world's most elaborate role-playing game. The entire hospital becomes a set, and the staff become actors. The hope? That if Teddy follows his own fake investigation to the very end, the fantasy will have nowhere else to go. It'll collapse, and he'll be forced to face the real man in the mirror, Andrew Laeddis.
You gotta admit, it's a compassionate idea, but man, is it risky. The doctors are banking on this one hope, that if Andrew can find his own way back to reality, maybe, just maybe, he can actually start to heal and piece his life back together.
And this all leads us to that ending. So, after that big confrontation in the lighthouse, it seems like it worked. Andrew accepts the truth. He lays out the whole tragic story. The therapy was a success. But then, we get that last scene on the steps, and he says one single line that changes everything. He says this to his partner, who we now know is his doctor, right after calling him Chuck again. And your heart just sinks. You think, oh no, he's relapsed. It all failed. But hold on, what if that's not a question coming from a place of confusion? What if it's a declaration?
And this is the final, brutal twist of the movie. He's completely lucid. He remembers everything. But living with that knowledge, that guilt, it's a weight that's just too heavy to carry. So he pretends to have relapsed. He forces the doctors to go ahead with the lobotomy. He has decided that it's better to be surgically erased, to die as the hero Teddy Daniels, than to have to live as the monster Andrew Laeddis.
And that's the devastating irony, isn't it? The experiment actually worked. Andrew was sane again. But for him, being sane was a burden he just couldn't bear. The final twist isn't that he's still delusional. It's that he's fully aware and is choosing to be erased. The choice was real, and it was his.
And in the end, that's the tragedy of Shutter Island. It's a powerful story about the crushing weight of guilt and the unbelievable lengths our minds will go to protect us from ourselves. For Andrew, a lifetime of clear, agonizing memory was a fate far worse than a quiet, painless nothingness. And so that leaves us with one last haunting question to think about. Was his choice to retreat from a painful reality an act of cowardice? Or was taking control of his own fate in the only way he felt he could actually the bravest thing he could have done? That ambiguity, that's what makes Shutter Island absolutely unforgettable.